Hello, fellow Hodophiles, and welcome to the Get Stamped podcast. My name is Danny, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, language, and culture. Grab your passports and get stamped as we take you on a journey around the world, exploring different countries, their cultures, and the languages spoken there. We will also be chatting with some of the coolest people about experiences that they've had and adventures they're about to embark upon. We believe that travel is not just about visiting new places, but rather about the experience as a whole. So make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright positions and join us on this journey of discovery as we explore this diverse world together. Welcome to the Get Stamped podcast. Today is actually our first recording with somebody.
Yay!
And this is Brittney Oliver.
Hello.
And we're just going to talk to her a little bit about some adventures she's had, a little bit about herself, and the adventures she's going to have.
Yes, a lot to talk about.
Yes, we're very excited. So we'll start by just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. That's a loaded question.
It is.
But thank you for having me here. I love doing this type of stuff. So who am I? I think I'm at this stage in my life where I'm trying to refigure that out and try new experiences and do new things. But I guess the short version of who I am, my name is Brittney. I am a licensed and master level social worker. I'm an elemental rhythm breathwork facilitator. I am a plant and animal medicine enthusiast. I love all things nature and outdoors, and yeah, that is like in the nutshell, that is me. But yeah, I think that there's like a lot of layers to people, and so I don't know.
Just peel back one of them today.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's actually funny because we just met, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3 maybe?
Not even that long ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I had learned about you, or I saw you on a friend of ours podcast, a mutual friend who hopefully will be on our podcast at some point, and thought you were interesting. I'm like, I like this chick, so I started following you, but I didn't actually meet you until I think it was 3 weeks ago, because tonight's another breathwork session.
We were in breathwork. I think it was Jody's class.
That's right.
We were in together.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
That was your first class, wasn't it?
Yes, that was my first breathwork class. So so I met you there, and then I think you might have mentioned that you were leaving. So I was like, okay, let me go to her breathwork class before she leaves. And I did, and then we started chatting, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I feel like when we talk, it is, I feel like I've known you.
I know.
It's very easy to just talk about whatever.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And then I learned that you were moving, which we're going to talk about.
Yes.
And I'm both very excited for you, but also bummed because you're leaving. But yeah, it's super exciting.
It's like mixed feelings. Anything new, right? Like, I've lived in this area. I've lived here my entire life, and to drop everything I know and to go out into the unknown, it's scary, but at the same time, I'm so ready for it. I'm so ready for the adventure.
I'm so excited for you. So this is the first time that you're moving out of this area.
It's first time. I've traveled, and I've gone to mostly East Coast. I have been in South America a couple times, but this is my first really going out there for a long term.
Big move. How are you feeling about that?
I know people in California. I've met a lot of people through retreats, and even so I went and got my master's at USC, and so a lot of the people that I graduated with there from West Coast, mostly California, mostly Northern California, but I know people out there, so I'm excited to reconnect with my friends and acquaintances out in that place. But I would definitely be lying if I said that I wasn't nervous, because I don't really have a plan going out there, because something that I've learned just through this whole journey that I've been on this past year is that sometimes the best plan is really not to have a plan. And I think I say that often too. And people will look at me like I'm crazy. It's like, what do you know? You don't know what to expect when you get out there. How do you know it's going to be okay? And I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. So
it'll work out one way or another.
Yeah. I am mostly just excited to experience new things, new culture, new way of living, new environment, new everything. So I am open arm net, just welcome anything in.
So exciting. And you're leaving in a couple of days.
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yeah, so by the time this is even out, I'll be
gone.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to California, but I've been to LA, Malibu, and like some of the wine regions, and then Fresno. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't been to your area. So what area are you going to specifically?
Going to Joshua Tree. Mm-hmm. So going to the desert, going to the big spiritual vortex. It's southern, but it's like 2.5 hours away from San Diego, more inward. So it's close to the coast, but not directly on the coast. I'm not sure what to expect from desert weather.
So you've not actually been there before?
No.
Okay.
So this is why. So a lot of people ask, like, why Joshua Tree?
Yeah.
This whole past year, I've done a lot of work with psychedelics, sat in a lot of ceremonies. I've traveled to a lot of places, and even in breath work, I feel like I have downloads and I get these answers, and so I can't remember exactly when. Oh, yeah, I do remember. In September, I went on a mushroom retreat, and I did a mushroom ceremony, and it was unlike anything I've ever done. It was almost more potent than ayahuasca was the first time for me. Uh-huh. I've never really had, with medicine and using psychedelics, I've never had, like, hallucinations or visual distortions. But when I took these mushrooms, it was a completely different situation, and I felt like I had like this huge emotional release, but then I very much met one of my guides. I usually in breathwork I usually see this little like Native American woman, and on this retreat prior to like sitting in ceremony, I was sharing with people like where I've been and where I want to go and what I'm trying to figure out with my life, and I was like, I know that I need to move. I feel like I hit my ceiling. I was like, but I just don't know where I'm supposed to be. And so in this ceremony, and somebody started playing the sound bowls. And I was, at this point, I'm like laying on the ground, but I felt like someone was pulling me up to sit towards the frequency of the bowls, and I could feel like those frequencies just entering my body. And when I looked at who was playing the bowls, I very clearly saw that Native American woman. And I remember just staring like, wait a second here. Maybe someone came in and I didn't notice them coming in. But I'm staring at her, and she's just smiling at me, and she said, you have so much to learn from this medicine and from this earth. And I'm having this conversation, and I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? And she just said, you just need to listen. And I was like, well, to what? Like, what am I listening to? And then that's when I came to, it was one of the girls who was hosting the retreat playing the sound bowls. And I was just like, wait a second. Like, this is so weird. And so it was actually in my ayahuasca ceremony that I went on in October, where I saw Kansas for whatever reason, and then I saw Joshua Tree.
Yeah. I think you made the right choice.
Yeah, I don't
think against Kansas. I've never been.
Yeah, I don't know much about Kansas either, but Joshua Tree definitely felt more aligned with who I am as a person. And so, yeah, I sat with it for a little bit, and I think I was very fearful, just because I wasn't sure what people were going to say.
And people will have a lot to say, I'm sure.
Yeah, they do. And then I get it. I try to be like very understanding of where people come from, but it was like, I need to choose me. I need to make a change. If I want to integrate anything and everything that I received in the past year with all of because I did a lot of plant medicine. So I went on my first ayahuasca retreat in March of last year.
Okay.
And then when I got back from Costa Rica, I got certified and trained in EMDR.
Okay.
And also in breathwork. And so I did that, and then I started microdosing with psilocybin, and then I went on that mushroom retreat, and then I went and did ayahuasca again, and then I went and did bufo, and so I did a lot.
Yeah, you're like just searching. Like,
yeah.
I want to see, I want to learn, I want to feel.
Because I truly felt like I was tired of being stuck in my past.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I need to get like back to myself.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like I don't feel like I overdid it. The travel experience with it, I mean, I got to travel to Peru.
Yeah.
I got to travel to Costa Rica.
That's so cool. Pura vida.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I swear, like, as soon as you get off the plane in Costa Rica, you're just like, like, this is so great.
I've never been to Costa Rica, but I have some friends from college that are from there. And they're some of the sweetest people. Like, what was your experience? So you've traveled primarily, so most of your travel has been primarily for this at least recently.
Yeah.
For plant medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I all solo travel. But Costa Rica, it was beautiful. Like, I went and I went with a group. So I met like the people that were going to Saltara with me. But I traveled to Costa Rica. I stayed in, they call them like hostels.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was beautiful. Like it truly was. Go ahead.
He's an aggressive burrower.
Go ahead. Get under there.
He's gonna. Okay. You good? We're done? Usually he flips and flops a little bit. All right. He should be situated now. So, yeah. So you traveled with a group.
Yeah. So I traveled by myself and I met with the group at, I don't even remember what hotel it was. But yeah, met them there, and then Saltara staff picked us up, and we took like this 2-hour drive through the mountains, and then we got on a boat, and then we went on this little island in Tarapoto. No, that was in Peru, my bad. Playa Blanca was in Costa Rica, so it was beautiful.
So you were on like a little island away from people then? Is it like, do they own that island, or is it just like that's where their land is?
It's pretty big island, and so there were some locals there. Honestly, like right down, so like Saltara is in this gated community.
Okay. You
drive on this dirt road and you see people's houses, and not even houses, they're not houses, they live completely different than we do here. But we're traveling down this dirt road, and all of a sudden we get to this gate, and it is like you're in this completely different world. So the retreat center itself was just very, very beautiful, very much encapsulated in, or not encapsulated, is that the word I want to use? It's like encompassed with nature, all of the like just beautiful trees and the howler monkeys and all the birds, and but it sits up on like this little, not even a mountain, but like up on this little hill, and then down the hill is the beach and the ocean. And, and there was a little like beach bar, and so you could smell them making burgers, which was the one thing I craved this whole time. I just wanted a burger, but we couldn't eat meat. Couldn't eat meat, but we couldn't eat like most meat. We could eat fish and stuff like that, but but yeah, it was a cute little retreat center, and we got some time to explore after our last ceremony, and it was beautiful.
That's what I was going to ask, if you were able to like explore it all once you were like, or at any point during, because I'm sure you're like focused for a while, but then after it was all done. So what town was that near, or was it just the island that you explored?
It was mostly just the island, because if I could when I do it again, I'll probably I probably would go to Peru before Costa Rica. Yeah. I really liked Peru. But when I travel again for ayahuasca, I would go a couple days before and then stay a little after. I was still working, and I was like, I can't take more than a week off of work.
Right.
And so I got there the morning that we were being picked up, and then I left like the next morning after being dropped off. And so the little time that we had for exploring was just like in between being dropped off in our flights, and so it wasn't
a lot.
No,
that's okay. It still sounds like an awesome experience.
Yeah. I very much enjoyed I think traveling out of the country is what really woke that like the desire to travel up in me. People live so differently in different countries, and I mean, you probably know, you've traveled too, and so I wanted more. I felt so like this is always going to be home to me. Yeah. But I felt so caged in. Yeah. And I really, again, I feel like I hit that ceiling as far as like I can't grow here anymore. Yeah.
I live for that. I live for that. Like I'm not going to talk a lot about myself, but I traveled. The first big travel that I did is insane when you think about it. I just moved to Spain by myself and didn't speak Spanish at the time. A little bit. And everybody thought I was crazy. And I don't even, honestly, like when I think back to that time, I'm like, I don't really remember what was going through my mind other than I just wanted to go. And it really does. It wakes you up, and it's like getting a tattoo. Like once you do it once, you're thinking about the next adventure. Like where else can I go? What else can I learn? And like who am I gonna meet? So I'm sure you've met like some amazing people.
Absolutely. And a lot of the people that I have met on these trips are who I consider to be my close friends, people that I talk to almost on a daily basis, and people who I go to when I need support. Not that I don't reach out to my friends and the people here who support and love me, but I have a hard time, like integration is definitely more helpful and more I don't want to say beneficial, but you get more out of the integration when you're integrating with people who know what you're going through. Yeah. Because it's very hard to put words to what plant medicine, what it does to your soul.
I've never experienced it, so I can't relate in that way, but I can imagine that it's like one of those things that when you're talking to somebody like me who's not experienced that, there's only so much I can understand versus somebody who's done it or is going through it with you. You guys can really just bond in a different way.
Yeah. It's really easy to just be like, well, I took this tea in the jungle, and I had these visuals, and I purged a lot, and it's so easy to like share that. But I guess bigger picture, what I really feel like I got from the work that I've done with plant medicine this year is that I feel home. I feel like I'm at home within myself. I don't feel like my nervous system is all jacked up anymore. I've been able to like rewire and rewrite the narrative and the story that I've been telling myself for so long. I feel like I've noticed a difference in my anxiety and my depression levels are increased. Like I don't even take medication for anxiety, depression, or ADHD other than, I would say psilocybin is my medicine. Like I microdose. I don't take mushrooms every day. Yeah. But like that is my medicine. And so I see things so differently, and it's really helped me shift perspectives in the more positive way.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's very exciting. Yeah. So your background, you are a what's your background again?
Social work.
Okay. My brain wanted to say socialist. I'm like, that's not the word.
Socialist.
Yes. It feels like a Monday, even though it's not. But yeah, so like your background is in social work. So how do you feel like, because did you do plant medicine before doing your work with social work?
No, I graduated with my undergrad in 2016. That is like a whole long story. I'm actually, that's really funny that you say that, because I was talking about like my road to becoming a social worker on my podcast that I just recorded. But graduated in 2016 with my undergrad in social work. Went in and did like school-based mental health, and realized very quickly that you can't do much without a license, and so I took my licensure exam in the following January, so it would have been May 2016, and then January of 2017 I took and got my license, and then in 2018 I got accepted to USC for my master's, and then did 2 years of school through COVID. Like, so my last year of school, COVID or like whatever that was, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, I try to block that out of my mind sometimes, but finished up in August of 2020 and then did 2 years of working towards my independent licensure exam, which I recently just obtained. So
got it.
Yeah, now, but I'm like at this place where I look at the system and I absolutely hate the system. I think that it is set up for failure. And I could talk on that forever, but I won't even like bore anybody with that, like my opinions on that. But it's to the point where I feel like I can't have real human connection with using my license. And that sounds really strange, but like there's a lot of ethics and there's a lot of things that you can't do.
Like you're limited.
Yeah. And what I've noticed is when, like, for the people in breathwork, right, I have a completely different type of interaction because I can meet them where they're at, like at a coffee shop. If I want to go have coffee with someone I do breathwork with, or I can't do that with clients. And and so I think sometimes being in that space of a therapy room, it makes it less makes it more difficult to have like a real human interaction.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly. I mean, I've been to 2 of your sessions, I think
2, I think.
Yeah. And it felt therapeutic to me. Like, I remember I would come home and talk to my husband and just be like, it was like therapy, but like really good therapy. Like, I feel like I've done so much more work in that versus when I'm actually with my therapist. So, I mean, from the other side, it does feel similar, I guess. Yeah. Like, it's more intimate and more, like, fine-tuned, and I don't know if those are the right words, but that's how it felt for me anyway.
Yeah, so. I can agree with you there. Like, I've been in therapy before, and I think, like, breath work has been my favorite type of therapy, because not only are you able to drop in and really access some of those suppressed things that we avoid.
It's wild.
I know, it's almost scary. It's like, no, don't do that. I don't want to think about that, which, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's also a self-healing model. And so you get to go in and not only regulate your nervous system, but you also get to have this deeper connection with yourself. And which leads you to feeling super empowered to be like, okay, I have this awareness. I'm aware of this pattern. Now I can make the change. Now I can actually have action steps to better my life or to make different choices. And I'm all about self-healing models.
Yeah.
1000%.
I'm so happy to have found breathwork. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. Like, I'd heard of it from Same Friends podcast. I'll link your videos from that podcast into this one too. Oh, okay. But yeah, so their podcast, there was Lisa was on there, and I remember her talking about breath work, and I'm like, well, that sounds interesting, because I already did like yoga and meditation and things like that, and I'm like, it seems deeper, but I also don't have any idea what I'm talking about. So I finally went when I met you with Jody's class, so it's a whole new experience for me, and it's been very unique each time that you go. So it's been fascinating.
It's
really
hard
fascinating
to describe it to people. It's almost like one of those things, even with plant medicine, like until you do it, it's hard to really fully understand and grasp the concept of it. But when you go to breath work, it's almost like, what are the words that I would use to describe this? Because it's so different.
The very first session with Jody, I came home and I was talking to my husband about it, and I was explaining it, like, my experience, and he was like, I don't understand, but I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's perfect. That's all I need.
Yeah. I've talked to a couple people who've done a couple, like 1 or 2 breathwork sessions, and they're like, it was scary. It was too much for me. I felt emotions, and I'm like, yeah, we're supposed to feel emotions.
That's part of it.
Yeah, but I guess everyone's on their own journey. Yeah. Everyone is doing their own thing, and they're at different points, and that's not for everybody.
Yeah. Honestly, if I were to have done it in 2020, late 2020, early 21, it probably would have scared me too, just because I was in a really bad place, So I can see that. But speaking of breathwork. So I know you're going to be continuing that.
Yeah.
You're going to be, are you facilitating? Are you like part of the retreat? Are you part hosting it? And it's in Mexico, right?
Yeah, going to Todos Santos in 2 weeks, actually.
Yeah.
So this Debbie is hosting the retreat. So how her and I met was, I just thank the universe so much because of the people that I've met in my life. It's been like the most like miraculous ways. So her and I met on a Discord channel.
Yes.
That the guy who we get our mushrooms from he had it on there for like community connections and things like that. And she does so she has her own business called Mystic Wellness. Yeah. I was like, wait a second. Sorry, Debbie. She has does like sound healing and meditation, does a lot of Kundalini yoga and Kundalini work. And so I had posted something about wanting to do a breathwork class on Discord or with the just the different people on there. And she reached out and was like, hey, like I was thinking about doing like the meditation, we should collaborate and do something.
That's awesome.
And so we met there and we remained in contact and we, continued to grow our friendship. I went and did bufo. She hosted a retreat in December out in California and did bufo with her. But prior to that, she had asked me to come and do breath work with at her retreat. And so going to Todos Santos, and I'm so excited. We had a meeting earlier this week, and I can like feel that energy already flowing through my body, and really excited to again get out of the country and get into a new environment and explore a little bit and help people heal.
Yes. Have you been to Mexico before?
No.
Okay, so that'll be interesting. I imagine most people are coming from the U.S. or from around to Mexico for that, right?
Yeah, I want to say everyone who else is like attending the retreat, they're from California.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I actually reached out to her. I was like, I didn't realize it was in 2 weeks. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
But super exciting.
I would be excited. Yeah, she is looking to fill that last spot now. Well, again, by the time this airs,
yeah,
we might be in Mexico at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like she's a very special human. Yeah, she's very talented. So it'll be a good retreat.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah. I want to do more of that type of stuff, like do breathwork at retreats or like collaborate with whether it's my friend Sean who works with mushrooms, or whether it's my friend Eric who serves kambo and bufo, or whether it's working with Debbie and just doing like yoga and meditation and breath work and things like that. But I want to hold space so badly for people, because I can remember I know in therapy, right? Feeling just super unsupported, not feeling like my therapist was hearing me, not really tackling the core issues that I needed to. And so I understand how difficult it is to move through experiences and through emotions without proper support. Yeah. And not a safe space to do it either. And so I really want to be in a safe space where I can hold space for people, not because it is not me. I don't do any healing for people. Like when you hold space for people, you just create a safe space for them to dive into themselves. And it's beautiful to watch people peel back layers and figure things out that they've been struggling with for their entire life. And so I really want to find containers all over the place where I can hold space. I
love that. So you're kind of like the travel guide of breathwork, or the travel guide of just like helping them. Yeah. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the one of the main reasons why I do so much medicine is because I think that you have to fully know what you're getting yourself into, so that you can properly help guide somebody through that experience.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So if you don't know what you're talking about, you're not going to be able to help them if they're having a bad time or struggling to get past something. Yep. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm actually hosting a bufo retreat in July, at the end of July. Right. Yeah. So Eric, who served me bufo and kambo in December, I just had a conversation with him, and I was like, what are the chances of you, and this was before I decided I was moving. I said, what are the chances of you coming to the East Coast to do bufo and kambo? And he was like, let's set it up. And so he was all for it. And so we're going to do it. We're going to host a retreat in Canaan Valley at the end of July.
So you'll be back this direction.
Yeah. Yep. I'll be back and forth a lot, probably from now until, well, forever.
Whenever.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's the beauty about having vehicles, is that they go both ways.
For sure. I love that you're doing a road trip. So you're moving there and you're going via car.
Yes.
And I love that. So you were talking to me about you're going to be doing some stops. And I think that's the best way to do a road trip.
Yeah.
Take advantage. You're going to be driving through these areas that you might not otherwise visit.
Yeah.
So where all are you going to be stopping at?
So I know for certain we're going to be stopping in. So I'm going with my best friend Amanda. She's going to be driving out there with me. And I know for certain we're stopping in Sedona in Arizona. But I have a friend who told me about a hot springs out in New Mexico that I really want to check out, because I've never been to like a natural hot springs ever. And so that's on the list of things to do. But honestly, just winging it, as far as like, if we find something that looks interesting, whether it's like a field of flowers or like a nice landscape of rocks or something, just really winging it, and whatever feels right, going forward and stopping. But we're true nomading it. Like, we are going to be camping. We're going to be cooking on like a fire and like a little single plate stove or whatever you call it, and sleeping bags and sleeping in the car if we have to. Yeah, yes.
I've done it.
and there's a part of me that's really nervous for that, because I'm like, well, what if someone breaks into my car, or what if I get robbed, and like ego starts talking, like all these fears start like kicking in, and it makes me question, like, is this the right choice? But I know that it's the right choice, and I'm excited to see all the places. I know that you said you've been to a couple places. Would you recommend any places to stop, or that you've been?
It would depend on your route. I don't know how far south you're going, but I drive to Arkansas regularly because I have family down there. And, there are hot springs there as well, but I don't. That might be too far south for you. You're probably going.
I don't think we go up like Columbus way, and then through Indiana, and then like down and.
Got it. Yeah, I don't. Straight. I go through Columbus, and then I go. Louisville is always cool, but that's like 6 hours from here, so you're probably not gonna stop there.
I think we drive through it.
Yeah. I love Louisville. Yeah, it's super fun. I actually want to do some traveling there this summer. Hopefully, this is an easy trip. You know? It's really close. Yeah. So if you're bored 6 hours in, Louisville's kind of cool.
I'll probably get bored a lot.
Yeah, but it's city, so. But yeah, other than that, normally I go to Louisville and then go down. So I haven't gone. But yeah, I don't. You'll be giving me tips.
There you go. There's actually an app that someone told me about. It's called Road Trippers. Oh. And you can map out your wherever you're going, your destination, and it'll give you places of interest.
Okay.
And so you can either like pin them on the map or like add them into your travel. It's really cool. But I almost wish that it would just show me everything. Oh. And I know that would be a lot. And I got a little overwhelmed by the app, but I definitely just want to see Sedona.
Yeah.
And I want to spend some time in Joshua Tree. Like, I want to hike all the trails and see all the things and get to know Joshua Tree.
I'm so excited. Definitely want to have you back after you're there for a little while to talk about your experience. But you were talking about being afraid and like those fears coming up, and that is so normal, and I think that's where a lot of people get stuck when it comes to travel.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid of the unfamiliar. And I think you might have even said something similar to this, where it's you just got to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
And that's probably one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself. If you can reach that and just accept that and roll with it, And it doesn't always work out. Like, I moved to Mexico, was great for a little while, and then it was not great.
Yeah.
You know, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. I still love that I had that experience.
Sure.
Even though it didn't work out, even though it was stressful.
Yeah.
You know, and I think just knowing that nothing's permanent. Like, you can...
Exactly.
You can come back. You can go somewhere else, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that helps with that fear.
Yeah.
I think it sounds like your mindset's like, you're good, you know? You're scared, but that's good. That's a good thing.
Usually my fear used to, like, I would get fearful and they'd be like, oh, can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, no more thinking about that. But now I have gone through so much fear just through, like, with plant medicine. And I know that sitting in that fear and getting through that fear, that there is so much beauty on the other side. And the thing that we fear the most is what we need the most. Yes. Is what we, like, I think that we get stuck in our mind so often where we are, again, comfortable with familiarity. We don't want to step outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
But if we allow ourselves to explore outside of what we know, we then learn new things and we can expand. Yeah. And we can learn more about ourselves and we can grow and adapt and so not all change is bad and it's not all bad. Yeah, for sure. I remember I was I did a scuba diving intro course or whatever. I'm sorry, I immediately thought of like Scuba Steve from what was it, Big Daddy? I think so, yeah. Oh, that's funny. I haven't thought about that forever. ADHD brain, there we go. It's all good. I'm sorry. Oh, no, it's fine. That is how my brain works. Yeah. So you will see that as I go on. Yeah. But yeah, I did a scuba intro class, and I think this is I actually did it while in Spain, but it was terrifying because you have to trust yourself. You have to learn how to trust yourself. You can't talk to anybody. You know, there are like hand signals and things for the guide and other people who know how to scuba dive. But you're doing it yourself. And you have to trust yourself. You have to, go with what you know and know that it'll be okay. As long as you do what you were taught, it'll be okay. And it's very similar to embracing any other kind of fear, really. Sure, that's life. Like we learn things, or sometimes we go into things blind, and it's almost like just listening to the intuition of what feels right. What do I feel like I need? What does my body need? And just trust. Trust is huge. Trusting that on the other side of whatever it is, it's exactly what you need. Yeah, and trusting yourself. That's like, I think I can go into that for hours. Oh, for sure. Yeah, our highest self, it's never going to steer us wrong. Yeah. If we just listen to, there's like that internal voice or internal like guiding system, it's never going to steer us in the wrong direction. Yeah. And if we do something and the outcome is different than what we expected, it doesn't mean it's wrong or bad. It just means like now we have to make another choice. Yeah. Or now we have to, use a different hand signal if we're like drowning. Not good. Yeah. I don't remember what I know this was I'm okay. This means up. I want to go back up. This is probably bad. I don't remember. It's been a long time. That would be so fun though. It's super fun. Yeah. But you can't do that here. Like you can't go down to like the river and be like, I want to take a scuba diving class. Yeah. You can't really do that. You might find some questionable things in the Ohio River. Yeah. I wouldn't want to scuba dive in the Ohio River. That would be terrifying. Not. Yeah. Yeah, though you probably could find something in California. I mean, you definitely could find something in California. For sure. Some girl that I am doing a microdosing program with, and there's a group of us, and she was recently just sharing about getting back into surfing, and she actually lives in San Diego. And I was like, you're going to teach me how to surf when I get out there. Like, that would be such a cool thing to learn and experience. Something new. I probably would suck at it. I am not very strong. Like, my upper arms are like noodles. But it would be really fun to try something outside of yourself. Yeah, and then you'll have a story to tell. Whether it's me crashing my board and, like, getting swept away by a wave, or whether it's me, like... dominating. Yeah, like, really getting in on that wave. I'm just like picturing, what is that movie? Blue Crush, was that?
I never watched that movie.
Oh my gosh, I was obsessed with it. I was like, I want to be like her. Like, I want to be a surfer.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I would love to try it, but I know I would not do well. But I haven't done it yet, so.
Hey, you never know.
I know. I have a friend, she does paddleboarding, and I've never done that either.
I wonder what that would be like. I don't know. I've seen it, but
it's more leg, I think. So I'm like, my legs are a lot stronger than my arms. So
I feel like, how do you get up on the? I would lose my balance. I think that was like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not graceful, but
I guess that's the fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You either learn how to balance or you fall and get wet and swim.
And get back up again and try.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One thing that came to my mind, and I don't know where you're at, it was just like an interesting thought path I started to go down. It's not fully formed yet, but like growing up myself, my family was not like a traveling family. My parents didn't travel. They still don't travel.
Yeah.
I know my mom would, I mean, she's gone a few places, and my dad doesn't live here, but they're not travelers in a sense.
Yeah.
And so I never grew up traveling. And I thought, I'm like, where did that bug come from? And I think it was reading. Like, I was a very avid reader growing up. And just to go to Peru and Costa Rica or anywhere on your own, like, yes, you were meeting people there, but you were still on your own.
Yeah.
Like, that takes a lot. And I know that for, especially people in this area, like, we're very rural area, very small town mentality. Stay in your comfort zone, like we were talking about.
Yeah.
How was it for you growing up? Was your family, like, travelers, or did they like kind of just stay put and you somehow got it somewhere else?
My family does not travel at all. I mean, they go on vacations. Okay. I guess if that's like considered traveling, but like mostly Myrtle Beach, typical like family locations. But no, like we grew up kind of poor, we weren't like, we weren't dirt poor. We were like we weren't rich by any means either. And so we didn't travel, but we got by. And but yeah, no one really traveled. Everyone in my family has been here their entire life, like in the Steubenville Weirton area, and I hadn't really traveled at all either. And it was only because of going to do plant medicine that I decided to travel. I always knew I wanted to, because I've always felt this disconnect being in this area. Like, I felt like I was, not that I was too big for this area, but I was like, there's more than this. Yeah. And so the idea of moving away was always in my mind. I just didn't act on it because, family ties and all those conditioned beliefs of like, you got to stay close to your family. You got to, family's everything. And as soon as I took that leap of traveling by myself, like, I was scared shitless to go to Costa Rica by myself. Sure. I don't speak Spanish at all. I was worried, like, people were like, you're going to get taken advantage of. People are going to manipulate you and steal your money. And so that was like planted in my mind. And so I'm like extra protective. Yeah. But it was nothing like that. Yeah. Like, I did not have any fearful experiences. But I knew that as soon as I got into Costa Rica, I was like, I need to travel more. There is so much more. Even traveling up to like New Hampshire and like the New England area by myself. Like, I've never been up that way really. But it was beautiful. Yeah, I haven't been that direction yet. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. so beautiful. I'm sure. I always wanted to go up to like New England area to check that out in the fall. Oh gosh, there's so many trees. Yeah. So many trees. I went in September and it was just, I almost wrecked my car a couple times because I was looking at the landscape. And I know that feeling. Yeah. Yeah. And the hiking trails and just all the nature, just being totally fully surrounded by nature. It was breathtaking. Have you been to Kentucky? I want to say that I saw Kentucky from across the river when I was up. Where was I? I don't know. I was coming home from somewhere, but I was like, oh, Kentucky's across that river. Yeah. That was right. Okay.
Yeah, though I never imagined myself like going to Kentucky. I mean, I've driven through Kentucky, Louisville, obviously, but like in Kentucky. Louisville's like right next to Cincinnati, so it's like.
Oh, that's probably where I was then. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different vibe from Cincinnati. Like, if you spend time in Cincinnati, you spend time in Louisville, completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Like, into Kentucky, you're talking about nature and, like, hiking and all of that.
Yeah.
We, my husband and I, we were planning to get married. We were going to just go to Italy with our parents. Mm-hmm. But then COVID was still, you know, looming and all the stuff happening in Europe. So we just decided to stay local.
Oops.
But he found a place in Kentucky, and the area is fascinating. It's like a little bubble in Kentucky that I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
But it's the Red River Gorge area.
Oh.
Breathtaking.
I feel like anything with a gorge is going to be gorgeous. I can't believe I just said that.
It's true, though. It's true. The first time I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. It's stunning, and it's like, it's a little bubble of like people who are active and like they want to go hiking. They're all about nature.
Yeah. And that's so important, to be around people who are interested in the same thing as you.
Yeah.
It makes it, one, you find your community and you find people to go out and do these things with, but then you don't feel so lonely when you're doing it.
Yeah.
I could see you being at, like, going to New River Gorge and, like, enjoying whitewater rafting or something like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, which I recommend to everybody.
I don't even know where that's at.
It's in West Virginia.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's, like, 4 hours away?
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, but it is.
Is that near Canaan?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Is it?
I don't know. I've not been to Canaan either. I've only heard of that.
Canaan's beautiful. Canaan's beautiful. I'm terrible with direction. For someone who wants to travel and go to all these places, like, I suck.
You'll get better.
Yeah.
The first time I went to Spain, I didn't know how to use a map.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, this was pre, like, Google Maps.
Yeah.
Like, that was not a thing.
Paper map, like.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna get so lost. And I did, but I learned.
Yeah.
So, getting lost, making mistakes, that's how you learn.
Exactly. We all need to make mistakes. I had a very special person in my life. He had said, you know, fail quickly and fail often. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only way we learn how to do it. I don't even want to say the right way. Yeah. Because what is right for you might not be right for somebody else, but people are so afraid of failing and making mistakes, and they forget and they miss out on how.
So dramatic.
There you go. Yeah, they forget how much growth comes from making a mistake. Like, it's not, you don't fail just for making a mistake. Like, you just.
Yeah, I mean, think about the mistakes you've made, right? Do you remember those more than, like, non-mistakes? So, like, I'm trying to think. I called learning Spanish. I called my head. I was like, oh, I have a headache. Mm-hmm. I said, me duele la cebolla. La cebolla. And my roommate at the time, she was like, what? Because they didn't speak English. She's like, you just said your onion hurts. And so now I'll never forget the word for onion or head, which is cabeza. And I was like, I will never forget that word now.
And what's the word for onion again?
Cebolla.
Okay. Your onion.
My onion hurts. Me duele la cebolla.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's so funny, though.
I like to tell my students that story. Because I'm like, do you speak English perfectly? No, you don't. So it's okay to mess up in Spanish.
And so, and you know, and those moments are probably, like, it taught you to remember what each of those words. And that's so funny.
Yeah. I have a lot of those. Some of them are not as PG mistakes that I've made.
Oopsies.
Yeah. But so fear and mistakes, those are where the growth happens. So.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the more you kind of lean into those, the less fearful and, like, I don't even want to say, like, fear of mistakes, I don't know. Yeah. But the less intense those both feel. Yeah. It kind of just becomes second nature.
You're like, oh, I messed up. Okay, let's try again.
Yeah.
Versus, oh my god, I messed up.
I'm so stupid. Well, the words we say to ourselves in those moments, it makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm still working on that.
Yeah, but it takes time too. Like, and so patience is also something that is super important when making change or when being okay with making mistakes, because our brain it fires to wire in it. So the way that it's wired, it's going to fire the same way. And so rewiring the brain takes some time and consistency. Yeah.
I mean, it took X amount of years to get that way, so it makes sense.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to ask you, if you could go anywhere other than Joshua Tree, because you're going.
Yeah.
If you live anywhere in the world, no resources wasn't an issue, money wasn't an issue, time wasn't an issue, where would you go?
Oh, geez. This might be surprising to some people, but I would go to India.
Okay.
Yeah, there's something about their culture that just I feel so drawn to it. All the so I've even anywhere in that direction.
Yeah.
India, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Australia. But yeah, I could see myself in India.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be your next adventure.
Next. Yeah, it could be. I have that Workaway app that I use, that it's basically like people host different projects and you can go and you can volunteer and you can do whatever they need you to do, but you basically work for your shelter, you work for your food, you work for cultural immersion. And so I was looking at some places and they have tons of them in India.
That's so cool.
And so even if it's like for a couple months at a time, that's better than nothing. So
yeah, I think there's a place that Crystal has gone to in California, where I think it was Crystal, really certain, but yeah, where she stayed, and maybe both her and Sarah, maybe it was just her, I don't remember, but they stayed and like did some work in the morning, and then they had the afternoons, but that's how they yeah. So I was like, I need to get note of that place. That would be cool.
That would, I mean, there's probably so many places out there that we're just not aware of that do things like that, but it makes it nice for people like us who like to travel.
Yeah. One of my ultimate goals is to have like a giant like B&B, like bed and breakfast type thing.
That would be amazing.
But for creatives. So where you can come and there are going to be gardens and like just spaces where you can go and just create whatever that means to you.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
That sounds really beautiful.
I should probably integrate some sort of that into it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was talking to a couple friends. It was more like a healing center that they wanted to kind of collaborate on and create, but just having a space where you can come in and you can, like, you know, if you want to do like a retreat there, you can do a retreat there. If you want to come in and do like a yoga something, you can come in and do or whatever. But yeah, have a space for being creative and being tapped into that side of us is.
Because it's like one of those things when you get into it, you just gotta roll with it. You gotta run and run and run until it stops. Yeah. Because you don't know when it's coming. Some people can tap into it easy, but some people it takes a little bit. So yeah, I always thought that would be goals.
That down. Yeah. Write that down.
Yes.
Get it. Manifest it. Speak it into existence.
Yes. It is there. It's out there. It's over there. Not there yet. It's there.
There was a somatic coach I worked with in the past, and she was helping me with like some manifestation stuff, and we did this exercise where she had me picturing me doing things that I want to do. So like the example she gave was like, if you want to hike and travel to Machu Picchu, envision yourself doing that. Yeah. Really put yourself into that environment, or see yourself creating this, you know, creative center. Yeah. And because the mind can't tell the difference between like reality and imagination. Like when we dream and we have a nightmare, like we think it's real.
Yeah, you wake up scared.
Yeah. But if you can put yourself into that space of creating and or even traveling to Machu Picchu, you just speak it into existence, and it's so much easier to get to that place.
One thing that I find really interesting about manifestation, because I do believe that it's a thing, like that's legit, that even those who you're hitting that spot for him.
Oh.
That was funny.
Did you like that? Oh, now you're sliding. You're falling. There you go. Oh.
But yeah, like even for people who don't believe in manifestation, even if they practice it in a sense, like you can still, there's still logic to it. Like even if it's not like I have people who are like, oh, that's just woo woo, that's whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember what all they say, but even those people, like if you're just being practical about the idea and you have a thought or a goal or a vision in your mind, you're more likely to work towards it if you're thinking about it. Yeah. So you're more likely to pick up on opportunities, you know, that will get you closer to that goal if you're thinking about it. So for you logical folks, all of you, everybody, manifestation, man.
It's a thing. Yeah, I think your mindset has a lot to do with what that next choice and decision is. My friend Sean, he is the one that I do my microdosing through and like the mushrooms and stuff with, and he recently like sent out a document and it was talking about getting into the mindset and talk to yourself and operate each day as if you are already doing the thing that you want to do. Yeah. So like if you want to change your eating habits and you want to be healthier, you have to live the life of somebody who is healthy. Yeah. You have to make the right choices. And so you can want to manifest anything, but it comes down to how many of your choices are being geared towards achieving that. Like if I were like, I want $1 million and I just keep like picturing myself
you're sitting here.
Yeah, it's not just going to magically appear in my lap, but that's for anything. Yeah. But it really has to do with the mindset that you're in and
being goal oriented.
Yeah. I think when you want big change, you have to make big change.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, is there anything else you want to say before we close out?
I don't think so. I really thank you again for thinking of me. I love doing this type of stuff. I love talking and I love sharing and I love learning, so I can't wait to catch up with you in the future and share with you where I've been and where I'm going. And
yeah, I'll come visit.
Yeah, please do.
It's funny because I say that and most people are like, I'm like, no, but I really will, so don't say yes, because I'm
down for all the visitors. Absolutely. I think that Joshua Tree is a spiritual vortex and just a magical place, and everyone needs to experience it.
Do you watch any YouTube channels? Like any regular
no, not usually. No.
There's a girl that I've been following for years. And she was a travel vlogger. But she's kind of like, she still does travel. It's a lot of travel related stuff, but she's also into like finding herself, and like she just got back from Joshua Tree. So I thought of you. It's Sorella Moore or something like that.
What does that name sound so familiar?
I post some of her stuff regularly.
Okay. I wonder if is she on Instagram too?
Yeah.
I might.
I'll direct you to her.
Okay.
But yeah, she was in Joshua Tree right before I started talking to you. And I'm like, oh, that's so crazy, because that's the second time I've heard that. Recently.
If it comes in threes, maybe taking a trip out there is what is being called to you.
I'm down.
Yeah. Come on out. Yeah.
Well, how can people follow your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on Instagram. My handle is Untethered Souls. So it's _Untethered Souls _. That's the name of my LLC.
Okay.
And where else? I do have my own podcast. I started my podcast called Brittney Untethered, where I'm just sharing my story, like very raw and forward and blunt and just putting it all out there. And because I think that when we share our experiences, it really does help people feel less alone in their experiences. And so
definitely
Instagram, you can check into my podcast, and I'm trying to think, do I have any other places to find me?
Are you blogging or
no blogging. I don't know if I would be a successful blogger. I don't know. I could try it, right?
Why not?
You won't know until you try. So maybe we'll add that to the list of... I think that was the whole point of like me starting my podcast too. I wanted to not only share my story, but I wanted to share and show people where I am going through stepping into that truth. So
watch your evolution. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll link all of that. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much.
All 0 listeners I have so far.
So hey, far. You'd be surprised. I was really surprised at the amount of people who listened to my first episode.
Oh, exciting.
I was like jaw dropped. I was like, okay,
that's cool.
Now look at all these people who know me. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, oh man, you know my secrets now.
Yeah, that's okay. There's nothing to hide.
Why it's there.
Nothing to hide.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy you came. I thought it was gonna be like, when I thought, I'm gonna ask her if she wants to be on my podcast. I'm like, that might be weird. I'm like, whatever, I'm weird. Then it worked out.
I'm also weird, so bring on the weirdness. I'm wild and weird all the way, so I'm super, super thankful that you thought of me. So thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See your next journey?
Yes.
Soon.
To be continued.
To be continued.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.